Palm Beach Pete is a really interesting case study of internet virality. Just in a span of a few months, he went from being a complete nobody to being featured on Jimmy Kimmel Live. What makes this case even more interesting is the fact that most of the content about Palm Beach Pete is not even made by him. Today, in this video, you're going to learn how Palm Beach Pete became this internet phenomenon and how you can replicate his success by following the 3 elements of virality. And no, I wasn't paid to make this video by Jeffrey Epstein. Trust me. If you're not already familiar with Palm Beach Pete, let me briefly introduce him to you. Everything started when a Jeffrey Epstein lookalike was spotted driving a convertible. And naturally this created a wave of people wondering whether the man in the car was Jeffrey Epstein, who is supposed to be dead. The phenomenon could have just ended here, but then something unexpected happened. You see, Palm Beach Pete actually made a public statement about the incident.
You're not Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm Palm Beach Pete.
But instead of the internet buying it, they became even more suspicious. I mean, why would the man need to make a statement unless he was actually Jeffrey Epstein? And this is where everyone went basically into full detective mode. And people were trying to find clues, analyzing his video frame by frame. And of course, Palm Beach Pete made even more videos, each stating the same thing.
I'm not Jeffrey Epstein, I'm Palm Beach Pete.
But this just gave people even more material to analyze. This whole thing started to snowball, and suddenly we had videos analyzing his teeth, his location where he lives, his private plane, and basically anything that could give a clue whether or not he was Jeffrey Epstein or not. And so the viral recipe was ready. And at this point, all of the content that Palm Beach Pete would upload was basically gasoline poured on a wildfire. But how did we exactly get here? What is this viral recipe exactly? And more importantly, how can you replicate the success of Palm Beach Pete? Perhaps the most important moment in Palm Beach Pete's journey was his initial reaction to the first video published about him. You see, most people would have just laid quiet after that video surfacing, but Palm Beach Pete actually used it as a perfect opportunity to introduce his character. And so he came out with his iconic reel where he states that,
Good morning, everybody. This is Palm Beach Pete. I'm so not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just me being me, and it's a crazy phenomenon.
And his response triggered a psychological phenomenon known as the opposite effect. It's described as a situation where a desired action or intervention causes the exact opposite effect on the audience. Instead of people accepting his statement, they started to question it, and they became even more suspicious. And this is the reason why the core of Palm Beach Pete's content is always him claiming, I'm not Jeffrey Epstein, I'm Palm Beach Pete. His seeming attempts to convince the audience that he's not Epstein creates the opposite effect, and the conspiracy is ready. Now if you think about it, the way most people try to go viral is actually the exact opposite of this. People tend to use direct calls to action, such as subscribe to my channel, but this also creates the opposite effect in some viewers. And in general, people don't really like to be told what to do or what to think. And when someone tries to convince them otherwise, they just resist that. By the way, you should not subscribe to my channel, and my content is probably not gonna help you grow your channel in any way. While the opposite effect is powerful, it is not enough alone to turn Palm Beach Pete into a viral phenomenon. And that's why we need our second element, which is ambiguity tension. When your brain sees a thing that could be interpreted as 2 things at the same time, it becomes confused. And it wants to resolve that confusion by gathering more information and learning which of the interpretation is actually correct. And that's exactly what's happening with Palm Beach Pete. When you look at the guy visually, he looks really familiar. You recognize him as Jeffrey Epstein, but what he says is the complete opposite. He's telling that he's Palm Beach Pete, this friendly guy from Florida. And as a result, your brain assigns a really similar likelihood to both of these outcomes. And this creates a lot of emotional interest in the form of interest loop. Your brain really wants to resolve this conflict and gather all the information about the guy that you can. It's the exact reason why people tune in to consume Palm Beach Pete content. They want to learn if this guy is actually Jeffrey Epstein in disguise, or if he's the guy who he claims to be. Now, while these two factors, opposite effect and ambiguity tension, are already creating a lot of interest in Palm Beach Pete's content, they are not still enough to propel him into the internet virality that he has actually seen. For that, we need our third element. If you just have the first two elements in place, you might create a small viral explosion where your content gets a couple million views. But if your goal is to blow up all over the internet and get featured in a talk show, you need something even more. You need other content creators to make content about you. What makes Palm Beach Pete such an interesting case study is the fact that 99% of the content out there is not even published by him. In fact, nearly nobody has even discovered his original channels. But this is exactly what you need to blow up all over the internet. You can't become this viral this fast unless you can mobilize other content creators to push your content as well. And Palm Beach Pete has done this in the most genius way possible. You see, his target audience isn't the consumers of his content. Instead, his target audience is all the other content creators who create these analysis videos about his content. This means that he doesn't really have to do much other than repeat the same sentence over and over and drop some new hints in every video that other content creators can analyze. And this is exactly what he has done so far. His videos are literally designed to drop subtle clues that he's Jeffrey Epstein while directly stating that he's not. And content creators love it. They get millions of views from people who want to learn who this man really is. So finally, it's time to go through a step-by-step formula that you can use to replicate Palm Beach Pete's success and create your own persona that you can use to reach internet virality. And the first step in this formula is to choose a recognizable archetype or a reference point that people already know in advance and have strong emotions about. This doesn't necessarily have to be a specific person, but it can also be an archetype such as billionaire, guru, scammer, or a genius. And you want to construct a persona that really strongly resembles that archetype or reference, but who always denies being that. The second step is to create your slip-up. In the case of Palm Beach Pete, this was Jeffrey Epstein driving a convertible, but it could also be a North Korean spy who fails a job interview at Google because they cannot say anything bad about Kim Jong-un. Now this slip-up should feel like it's not you who made that video, but it was someone who independently spotted you and your slip-up. The step 3 is to introduce your character. And the best way to do this is to create a public statement to your slip-up where you come out explicitly denying what people assume or suspect. And the goal of this introduction is to make people think that it's equally likely that you are that reference point or that you are not. In the North Korean spy example, you could come up with an excuse why you couldn't say anything bad about Kim Jong-un, or that you felt that it was an inappropriate question in that interview and it was taken out of context. And the fourth step is to keep pouring gasoline onto the fire. As people and new content creators hop in to create content about you, you should keep releasing more content where you drop subtle clues about who you could be, but you still keep explicitly denying people's suspicions. The longer you can keep this up, the better. You really never want to create a situation where people get too much evidence for one or the other. If people start to really believe what you're saying and their suspicions start to vanish, you have to add more gasoline to the fire by providing more evidence that you might actually be who they suspect you to be. And if people become too confident that you are who they suspect you to be, then you want to create evidence the contrary, that you are actually, for example, Palm Beach Pete and not Jeffrey Epstein. But if you can keep that balance in the middle, then that's where people are the most invested in finding out who you actually are. The more tension there is, the more interest there is. And there you have it. I hope you found this video interesting and useful, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content like this in the future. Also, leave this video a like and comment down below, do you think Palm Beach Pete is actually who he claims to be, or if he's actually Jeffrey Epstein? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.